Good morning, and welcome to Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, and welcome to those of you who are watching online this morning. I'm Reverend Mary Murray Shelton, the community spiritual leader here. I am, as always, delighted to welcome you, and I can see that, the best way to make sure that everybody is ready is to start 5 minutes late. Usually, people are all over talking and everything. This morning, you're all like sitting down ready for class, sort of. It's very impressive. You are awake out there, aren't you? Are you sure? Okay, good. So this center, Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, is connected to the Centers for Spiritual Living. And our vision is creating a world that works for everyone. So this is part of what our Sunday morning is all about, and I'm delighted that you're here. In just a minute, I'm going to have you stand to sing the opening song. But before we do that, I want to invite you to just go around and introduce yourselves to people and say good morning. Maybe there's somebody you haven't seen for a while, someone you don't recognize. Just stand up and walk around and go say hi to people right now. Take that time to greet one another. And you at home too. Take a moment to welcome yourself to the morning. And if you're with somebody else, to give them a hug and wish them a really good day as well. And in just a moment, we're going to sing. All right, come on back. Come on back and remain standing so we can sing the opening song together, if you're able to stand. Yes, I want to let you know that our morning musicians have not been with us before. Lori O'Shea and Sean O'Shea. Lori's a singer-songwriter and keyboardist with a bachelor's degree in music for the media. And she was a cast member at Disney World in Orlando. She's performed in the popular Nashville songwriter rounds, and her first CD came out in August, and she's working on her next project, which is Lullabies for Kids from 1 to 100. Sean is an ordained divine science minister, speaker, performing songwriter. He has twice opened for Wayne Dyer, been interviewed on Good Morning America, and goes to New Thought centers all over the country, and is writing a book called 7 Spiritual People Skills for an Extraordinary Life, which is supposed to come out the end of this year. They have a countryside haven called Dragonfly Landing, where they host short-term guests, workshops, and special events. That's in Cookeville, Tennessee. So let's enjoy this opening song. And Lori's going to teach it to you first, and then we're going to sing it. But it's very easy. So she's going to explain it and then teach it.
Good morning, Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. Thank you so much for having us. Sean and I are grateful to be here. We are so grateful. We are so joyful. And wow, what a lead into our first song here this morning. This song is literally hot off the presses, as in just this morning, because we were both feeling very overwhelmed with gratitude and so happy to be here with you. And so I need your help in singing this with me. Now, this song is called I Am So, because we get the chance every morning to fill in that blank, don't we? What am I going to be so today? Am I going to be so happy? Am I going to be so frustrated? Am I going to be so loving? We always get the chance to reset and start anew each day and figure out what we're going to be. So I'm going to go through it once real quick, and I think you'll get the hang of it real fast. So here's the first verse, and then we're going to do it together. I am so joyful, it's true. I am so joyful, be joyful, so joyful for you. Okay, together.
I am so joyful, it's true. I am so joyful, it's all because of you. And when this joyful mood hits me, I've no choice but to be joyful, so joyful for you.
Let's be loving.
I am so loving, it's true. I am so loving, it's all because of you. And when this loving mood hits me, I've no choice but to be loving, so loving for you.
How about grateful?
I am so grateful, it's true. We are so grateful, it's all because of you. And when this grateful mood hits me, I've no choice but to be grateful, so grateful for you. I am so grateful, for you. Thank you. You may be seated. And take this moment, to silence your cell phone so that we don't have any calls coming through from the infinite in the middle of the meditation. Those you can get on another wavelength. So we'll have you do that. And we're going to move into now the morning centering song and then the morning spiritual mind treatment with Reverend Judith Fleener.
Breathing in the life, the love, the energy, the joy, the power of creation. This creation comes out of the one, the ultimate power, the ultimate joy, the ultimate love, the ultimate healing, life itself, the divine that is in and through and as all beings. This one I choose to call God, but goes by many names and is seen in many faces. This darling, this delight, is not separate from me, and it is not separate from you. It is the energy of love that flows through you, in you, as you. This energy that flows within me is the creative energy of all next expectations. And so in this space of knowing, I just claim a shift in consciousness for every being within the sound of my voice today or listening to the recording years to come. That now is the time to shift into that center of reality where you know I know, we know that we are all one. And so I claim this shift in consciousness that allows for whatever healing is needed to be healed today, for whatever joy needs to be celebrated, for whatever power and strength is needed for the next step, for whatever energy of forgiveness is required in this moment. And so this center for spiritual living is the place where we come together to remind ourselves of the truth of this oneness. And so I claim for Reverend Mary that the exact words that are needed to be heard are spoken today, that the music that is coming through Zoom is nurturing and loving, that our harvest festival is fun and engaging, and that most of all, the connections between one another renew and revive for the week to come. And so as we discuss the creatures of the earth, let us remember, as we see the smiling face of the beloved in a dog or a cat or a bird or an ant or an annoying bee, we remember that's God too. And so in this place, I just give thanks and I let it be. And so it is.
And so it is.
Northern lights in our skies, plants that grow in, open your mind, things that swim with a neon glow, how we all got here, nobody knows. These are real things, these are real things. Oh, what a world, I don't want to leave. All kinds of magic all around us, it's hard to believe. Thank God it's not too good to be true. Oh, what a world. And then there is you. Did I know you once in another life? Are we here just once or a billion times? Well, I wish I knew, but it doesn't matter, 'cause we're here right now, and I know what I feel. These are real things. Yeah, these are real things. Oh, what a world, I don't want to leave. All kinds of magic all around us, it's hard to believe. Thank God it's not too good to be true. Oh, what a world. And then there is you. And then there is you. These are real things. These are real things. Oh, what a world. Tell me it's not too good to be true. Oh, what a world. And then there is you. And then there is you.
right. All the way from Tennessee this morning. You just look like, it's so interesting this morning. Everybody is sitting so tidily and so orderly. And I don't know, there's something just looks very class-like this morning to everybody. Sorry. Okay, onward. We want to thank Lori and Sean for their music this morning. And of course, we are back into 2022 still with Living from the Heart of Wonder. And this month of August, the magic and holiness of nature is what I've been talking about. So we've talked about the earth herself, we've talked about water. Today we're talking about our brother and sister creatures, because we are creatures as well. And one of the things that is interesting to me is how we tend to underestimate the feelings or the intelligence of other creatures. We're so human-centric, I guess, that we don't realize that other creatures feel deeply, that they have memory, that they learn, and that they care. In many instances, they care for their young, they care for their elderly. And so sometimes they have talents and abilities that we do not have. Story is a case in point. A local business was looking for office help, so they put a sign in the window saying help wanted, must be able to type, must be good with a computer, and must be bilingual. We are an equal opportunity employer. And a short time afterwards, a golden retriever dog trotted up to the window, saw the sign, and went inside. And he looked at the receptionist and wagged his tail, and then walked over to the sign and looked at it and whined. So getting the idea, the receptionist got the office manager, and the office manager looked at the dog and was surprised, to say the least. However, the dog looked determined, so he led him into the office. Inside, the dog jumped up on the chair and stared at the manager. He said, "I can't hire you. The sign says you have to be able to type." And the dog jumped down, went to the typewriter, and proceeded to type out a perfect letter. Took out the page, trotted over to the manager, and gave it to him, and then jumped back on the chair, looking very eager and frisky. And the manager was stunned, but then he told the dog, "But the sign says you have to be good with a computer." Well, the dog jumped down again, went over to the computer, proceeded to demonstrate his expertise with various programs, and produced a sample spreadsheet and database, and presented those to the manager. Well, by this time, this guy is completely dumbfounded by the whole thing. He looks at the dog and he says, "I realize that you're a very intelligent dog and you have some really interesting abilities, but I still can't give you the job." And the dog jumped down and went to the copy of the sign and put his paw on the part that said being an equal opportunity employer. And the manager said, "Yes, but the sign also says you have to be bilingual." And without a beat, the dog looked at him and said, "Meow." Sometimes creatures have unusual history or abilities that are different from our own. We used to think that the coelacanth was already extinct. Thought that for a long time. And then a few decades ago, they actually discovered one. And they're considered a link between sea creatures and creatures that walk on land, because they have extra fins and they use them in the way that animals use their paws, opposite to opposite. So these creatures have been on the planet, not the same ones, I'm assuming, but for 400 million years, and they're still around. And I wonder what other stuff is around that we haven't actually documented yet, or we think is gone, but it really isn't. You never know. So there are a number of things that animals have traits that we human beings don't have, and we don't take them into account with other creatures all that often. Bats and some whales send out high-frequency pulses, sound pulses, and the echoes that come back create for them in their brains a 3D picture of their surroundings. This is how they see by doing that. Honeybees and sharks, sea turtles, rays, salmon, homing pigeons, and other migratory birds, they sense the Earth's magnetic field. somehow, and this is how they do navigation. We don't know how it works, but we understand that that's how we do it. That's how they do it. Some creatures have infrared vision, like snakes that hunt at night actually have something separate from their eyes that detects infrared rays, which means they can see the warm-blooded animals that are their prey in the dark, no matter how dark it is. And eagles can see levels of very low ultraviolet light, and some insects do as well. And then catfish have 10,000 taste buds, not in their mouths, all over the exterior of their bodies. I mean, they have them in their mouths too, but they can literally taste their prey in every direction. And dogs have 40 times more smell sensors in their noses than we do. 40 times. Can you imagine multiplying what you can smell now by 40 times? It's astounding. So they have all these abilities that we don't have. And they also seem to have an ability to connect or perceive with one another what's safe, what's not safe, and communicating to one another in ways that we don't understand. It's pretty fascinating and impressive. Ernest Holmes, our founder, wrote in How to Change Your Life, "We believe in the incarnation of spirit in everyone, and that all people are incarnations of the one spirit, or all life, really." George Bernard Shaw said, "The worst sin toward our fellow creatures is not to hate them, but to be indifferent. That's the essence of inhumanity." And Albert Schweitzer, who was known for his great compassion, said, "Compassion in which all ethics must take root can only attain its full breadth and depth if it embraces all living creatures and does not limit itself to mankind." When I was a kid, I remember Jack Parr on The Tonight Show telling a story about visiting with Albert Schweitzer in Africa. And he said Albert Schweitzer had a little pile of sugar on the end of his desk. And while Jack was sitting there talking with him, he saw an ant climb up and start to walk across the desk. And without thinking, he just brushed it away. And Albert Schweitzer said, "That was my ant. Why did you do that?" He really lived his principles of caring for every living thing that was around him. Gandhi said the greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. And the philosopher Schopenhauer said the assumption that animals are without rights and the illusion that our treatment of them has no moral significance is positively outrageous as an example of Western crudity and barbarity. Universal compassion is the only guarantee of morality. So I think about that when I go to buy products in the store. Are these tested on animals? And I look for things that I can choose that are cruelty-free. We have enough information about a lot of the stuff that we use now that we don't need to keep torturing animals with that stuff to know that it's not good for us. We know those things are not good for us. They're not good for them. They're not good for us. And we don't need to continue to torture them to do that. You know, I don't know what I think about alien abduction, but people who describe being abducted by aliens will often say that they're treated like laboratory animals. Samples taken and tests given and no explanations or consideration for their feelings or emotions. And I think, isn't that interesting? That whether that's real or not, that would be the image that we would come up with for how an advanced civilization might look upon us. And perhaps there's something in that for us to learn about the other creatures that we inhabit the planet with. We say we believe that God is all there is. So, then at what level are we willing to extend that compassion outward, not only to other people that we don't understand, but to creatures that are different from us? There are also things that we share, traits that we share in common Now, we have in our eyes 3 cones that detect color, 3 different types of cones. And so if we were to look at a tiger in the jungle, because we have this trichromatic vision, this is what it looks like. And wouldn't you think that any intelligent animal seeing that would run? But that's not what tigers look like to most animals that are their prey, because they have dichromatic vision. In other words, they're colorblind. They have dichromatic vision, and so tigers look like this in the jungle. You can see how easy it would be to not see a tiger in a background that looks exactly the same color. So the adaptations that nature makes to allow us to survive, to find food, to do whatever it is amazing. And much of it we're not aware of, or it doesn't have anything to do with how we experience the world. Some creatures have tetrachromatic vision, which means they have a 4th kind of cone in their eyes. So they see shades of color that most human beings cannot see. Some people have that kind of vision, but it's rare. But there are animals who have many things in common with us. Now, primates see in this way. They also craft tools and weapons to allow them to get food. They mourn their loved ones. They play. They form groups. And chimpanzees can actually lie. There's no other primate that we know of that lies, but they do, and they're the closest ones to us. Elephants may not look like us, but elephants and dolphins can recognize themselves in a mirror or in a reflection, I would imagine. Elephants also are creative and social and very loyal and family-oriented and playful, and they communicate with one another. They communicate in a couple different ways. There are certain ways that they dig into the ground that sends vibrations out that communicate something. They also can do that by vibrating their foreheads at a really low frequency that we can't hear, but it travels for miles. And other elephants can hear it and understand it. I have heard of elephants that have been tended to by somebody and bonded with that person. And when that man was in the process of leaving his body, of dying at the end of his life, although he lived in the same country, but not near this place where the elephants were, they came from miles away and stood around the encampment where he lived and stayed there for several days while he made his transition and afterwards. And then they got up and left. They were showing their respect, their love, and their mourning for the passing of this friend. But how did they know? Dolphins actually have names. Each one, there is a whistle they use that identifies a particular dolphin. They also have dialect or accents from different areas. They are social and playful and emotional. They use tools that they find in the ocean, and they care for their young and their old. They take special care of their old and mourn for them when they pass on. So there's a lot going on in the animal kingdom that's very much like human beings. And it's important, I think, for us to take into consideration the intelligence and the feelings of those creatures, because we often don't pay enough intention and attention to them to really get a sense that that is a sentient being that we're interacting with. Kim Shotola, who wrote The Soul Watchers, Animals' Quest to Awaken Humanity, said, animals are a window to your soul and a doorway to your spiritual destiny. If you let them into your life and allow them to teach you, you will be the better for it. And Chief Luther Standing Bear, in describing the way that the tribe had lived, said, Kinship with all creatures of the earth, sky, and water was a real and active principle. In the animal and bird world, there existed a brotherly feeling that kept us safe among them. The animals had rights. The right of man's protection, the right to live, the right to multiply, the right to freedom, and the right to man's indebtedness. This concept of life and its relations filled us with the joy and mystery of living. It gave us reverence for all life. It made a place for all things in the scheme of existence with equal importance to all. So, our animal companions are actually reflections of the divine. Now, these are our two cats. We got them as kittens a number of months ago. They are litter mates and sisters, and they are very similar in the ways that they do certain things. Callie, who has more white, is bigger and heavier than Bailey, but Bailey takes the lead in certain things anyway. And they will often be together in some room having a snooze, all curled up together, or side by side in the same position like they are here. Our animal companions are reflections of us. They learn about us. Just like our children learn about us, they learn which things they need to do to get us to feed them. They know which things they need to do to get us to brush them or pet them or talk to them or take them out or take them for a walk. They are the divine expressed as them. And when they leave us, when they go on to whatever happens next for our loved creatures, we mourn them because they're family to us. They have their own personalities. We've had a lot of cats over the years. No two of them have ever been even similar personality-wise, and that includes these two. They're unique. Each one is its unique self. Callie, although she's bigger, is more of a scaredy cat than Bailey. Bailey is more bold. If there are guests in the house that she doesn't know, she'll come out and hang around just to see who they are. Callie, very often, you will never see at all. She's under a bed somewhere. So even though they're litter mates and sisters and very much alike, they also have a certain uniqueness to them that defines their individual personalities. And I wonder about people who want to have their pets cloned, if they think that animal that looks exactly the same is going to have the same personality as the one that they loved and lost. Somehow I don't think so. But I've never tried it, so I don't know for sure. Abraham Lincoln said, "I care not much for a man's religion whose dog and cat are not better for it." And Anthony Douglas Williams said, "When I look into the eyes of an animal, I do not see an animal, I see a living being. I see a friend. I feel a soul." He said, "One day we will know that all animals have a soul. Hopefully this knowledge does not come when it is too late." And Anatole France said, "Until one has loved an animal, part of one's soul remains unawakened." So we are invited by the animal kingdom, and even by bees and hummingbirds. Have you ever been strafed by a hummingbird? Those of you that have hummingbird feeders and have let them go empty will know what this is like. Because when you walk out anywhere near that feeder, the hummingbird will go vroom, right past you to let you know, hey, wake up. I need some food over here. They also are very careful to guard their feeder. I don't know if you know this. If you have never had a feeder out, they're very aggressive about protecting their feeder. We used to have one that would sit on the back fence across from the feeder, just hang out over there. Occasionally go to a few flowers nearby, but if another hummingbird tried to get to that feeder, zoom! No, that's mine. So these personalities, these energies, these little tiny creatures, I mean, can you imagine the size of a hummingbird's brain? And it can recognize that feeder, and that bird cannot have that feeder. They know that stuff. How do they know that stuff? I can't even remember all of your names. So forgive me if I keep asking. I'll learn them eventually. St. Francis of Assisi said, "A cat purring on your lap is more healing than any drug in the world, as the vibrations you are receiving are of pure love and contentment." How many of you have pets at home with scales or feathers or fins or fur or hair, or lots of you, most of you, in fact? And those of you that don't, have you ever had pets? Yes, some of you have, even though you don't have them right now. I want to share a story with you to wrap it up today, and this is a story that I've shared with you. I think I probably share it about once a year. It really is a story that I love so much in terms of the intelligence of animals, the bond, the mourning of passing, the whole thing. So this was written by Terry Ryan for San Francisco Chronicle magazine almost 20 years ago. People have been known to inherit valuables from deceased relatives, sparkling heirlooms, the family silver, works of art, outright cash. But Evelyn Ryan did not leave her 10 children any of these things because she didn't have them to give. The best things she left us were the intangibles, like her sense of humor and her laughter, which still rings in my memory. And in fact, in my house. When my mother died, I inherited a bird, not a lightweight canary, but a foot-high African gray parrot who talks and laughs in the rich, gravelly voice of 85-year-old Evelyn Ryan. These days, I wander around in a t-shirt that says, "My mother went to heaven and all I got was this lousy parrot." But this is only half true. There is nothing lousy about Clancy. My brothers and sisters and I bought Clancy to keep Mom company after Dad died. She picked him out from a group of baby parrots in a pet store, and they bonded instantly, my gray-haired mother and this gray-feathered bird with a bright red tail. The summer before Mom died, I went home to Ohio for a 3-week visit. The first morning, I awoke to laughter and conversation coming from downstairs and wondered what fun-loving neighbor had stopped by. But once downstairs, I discovered that the source of all this joyful noise was simply Mom and Clancy going through their morning routine. He kept the conversation rolling, and his comments, with a voice identical to hers, had them both in stitches. "Where's my shoes?" he asked. She laughed and said that her shoes, not his, were lost. "Don't know where I put stuff," he said. They talked all day like this, taking turns commenting on my mother's ragtime piano playing. "Isn't that pretty?" And on his backyard view of Mom's flower garden full of white hollyhocks and orange daylilies. "It's beautiful." They looked after one another, too. If either of them dozed off, the other would say, "You're so quiet. Are you okay?" Clancy learned every word and sentence from Mom, of course. For years, she told him when birds visited the backyard, "Look at all the little birdies." Or when the morning paper hit the front porch, "That was the paper boy." And he learned to repeat those sentences when appropriate, but he could ad lib, too. "There's someone at the door," he said during my visit home. Hearing this, Mom walked out to the front door only to find no one there. "Now, don't tell me there's someone there when they're not," she told him. "I went all the way out there for nothing." He waited just a beat to reply, "There's a little birdie at the door." My mother died at home after a 3-week illness, and Clancy was by her side the entire time. Near the end, the two of them had the best seat in the house, in front of the double-wide open window in the bedroom, where they could see trees, birds, the tops of the ancient evergreens lining the front of the house, and the bell tower of St. Mary's Catholic Church, just a block away. When the parish priest came to visit, Clancy was a surprised participant in the conversation, reducing what should have been a solemn event into unholy hilarity. Throughout the priest's booming recitation of the Lord's Prayer, Clancy shouted his own version, "Good heavens! Good heavens! Good heavens!" Those of us in the room somehow managed to stifle our laughter, but just as the prayer came to an end, and as Father Ed delicately placed the communion wafer in my mother's mouth, Clancy yelled, "Oh, shh." Clancy's now 17 years old, and we've been together for the past 4 years. It took him many months to forgive me for not being my mother. Short of saying, "What have you done with her?" he let me know I was not his first choice in companions. "No," he shouted whenever I came near. "Don't you do it." He became an expert marksman, flipping sunflower seeds at me with rat-a-tat-tat precision and taking canapé-sized bites out of the kitchen cabinets. But time seems to have done its magic, and now we banter back and forth, just as he and Mom used to. When the phone rings, he carries on his part of the conversation in the background. "Hello? Uh-huh. Okay. All right." When I eat, he says, "How's your food?" Several weeks ago, I dumped a basket of clean laundry on the floor to sort it, and he said, "Where's my shirt?" And best of all, 15 minutes into my first attempt at silent meditation in the living room, he called out from his cage in the kitchen, "You're so quiet. Are you okay?" I miss my mother more than I can say, but her loss has been lessened somewhat by the appearance of this avian doppelganger in my life. I carry Evelyn Ryan in my heart, of course, and I always will, but I also suspect that she's still here, sitting up there on the perch underneath all those feathers. How can we imagine that just because we think and talk and feel and reason and remember and decide, that our other creatures on this planet do not do the same thing? And perhaps this is our opportunity to remember that the divine is everywhere we look, in everything we see, and particularly to notice it in those creatures that are around us, particularly the ones that we share our lives with. Just like on this wonderful altar the Frost family has done with photos of beloved pets that people have added. Many of them are their own. So let's take this moment and go within to center ourselves in the connection with that part of life. There is one life. That life is whole, complete, and perfect. That life is infinite. It is God's life, and it is my life now. And it is not only my life, but the life of all that is, and of every creature, known and unknown, of every size, of every description, of every type and place. I am connected to all of this life. Right here and now at this moment, I send the energy of love to my pets, to the animals that live around my home, the birds, the rats, the dogs and cats that wander, the little reptiles, the bees. Everything that lives responds to this feeling of love and kindness. And so I send it forth, not only to my fellow human beings, but to the life of all of these creatures that I share the planet with, those in the earth, on the earth, in the water, in the sky, in the mountains. I celebrate their aliveness, and I know too that their energy toward me also contains curiosity, love, respect, as we mirror one another. So today, I anchor myself in respect for all life, and with gratitude, I bless it. I let this blessing echo back to me. With joy and gratitude, I let this prayer go and let it be now. And so it is. And I invite you to stand up and join me for the morning's affirmation. As we say this together. Pets, wild animals, sea and sky creatures, and those that creep, crawl, or burrow. All of these are expressions of the life of God. I am blessed to share the planet with this rich, diverse manifestation of abundant life. And so it is. You may be seated. When we notice that, and we begin to have compassion for those creatures and those feelings, we become then more attuned to our own and to having compassion for ourselves as well. So I encourage you this week to give love to those creatures that you encounter, birds as you're out for your walk, fish if you go fishing, bless them all, the ones you catch and the ones you don't catch, the ones you throw back and the ones you take, bless them all. Bless the life of everything, because we're all here to serve each other. And so, as we move into taking care of this entity that we call Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, we also are entering into a spiritual practice. The spiritual practice part of this is for us, and the giving part of it in this space and time becomes for Golden Gate. So if you've given to Golden Gate during this past week, we're going to bless all the offerings that have been given and everything that's coming in today. If you want to text to donate or use PayPal, you can do that according to what's on the screen here. And also, we want to bless what's being given. I encourage you to bless what you spend, what you donate, what you tithe, to bless it as you let it go. If you write checks, if you pay online, if you do auto payments, then when you check your banking account, to bless what's there and what's going out. And the ushers are going to come up front as we prepare to do this. So if you're giving your gift this morning, please hold it over your heart. If you're giving with a loved one, you can hold it in your hands together. As we say this together, this gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is.
Here's a song that literally needs no introduction. It's certainly made most famous by Louis Armstrong. Hope you enjoy. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, a bright blessed day, a dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying that I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Mhm. So we all together, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, receive and accept this offering with gratitude. And we send it out into the world to help all of us as humanity tune up our awareness of the sacredness of all life, beginning right here with us in this room. And so it is. So for those of you who are with us for the first time this morning, if you go to this back table, you're going to find welcome packets available for you back there with a blue welcome card inside. And we would just ask that you fill this out and turn it in back there so we can tell that we've had guests and where they came from. And after you do that, we will give you a little gift. Amanda's holding the packet and the gift up back there. It's a little book called Nourishing Thoughts, which is a book of affirmations that you can easily carry with you and use it when you need to remember something of this nature for your pets or yourself or your children. So those little affirmations are very convenient. So we do that to thank you for being here and to hope that you will come back and join us again and be a part of our spiritual family. I want to especially thank everybody that was here this morning. Jim Homa is back. Yay, Jim. You're welcome. So glad he's back with us. And the Frost family is here this morning, and they did this marvelous altar with the otter and the flowers for Ukraine and the Ukrainian flag back behind there. And so we want to thank them and everybody that was involved this morning. And I want to draw your attention to the back tables where the food that people remembered to bring is. And I want to thank Steve Einhaus and Linda. Where's Linda? Linda's in the kitchen. For setting that up for us back there. We're going to have some judging going on in just a minute, so hang around because there will be prizes given for those the produce back there. But let's give a hand to everybody that helped this morning. Also, I want to remind you, if you would like to do something special for Ukraine, one of the ways that you can help is by sending donations to the Golden Path, goldenpathofpeace.org/donate. This is Reverend Barbara Leger's ministry that connects people in Ukraine with needed services. It's an educational ministry, but this is an aspect that they've geared up and are working deeply. That's one of the places that you can make a difference, is through the Care Connection. Also, the women's drumming is coming back on Wednesday, August 31st. Potluck at 6 p.m., drumming to follow 6:45, 7-ish. There's a sliding scale from $10 to $20, but nobody's turned away for lack of funds. Please RSVP to Lori Greer. Her email is up there, LoriMorningGlory@gmail.com, if you want to let her know that you're coming. And please be aware that the lodge at the Alpine Club, where this is being held, the Alpine Club requires that all guests be vaccinated and boosted. So that's something important to know and respect and be aware of. Also, our beloved practitioner, Suzanne Dubois, is going to be teaching writing as a spiritual practice. You'd be surprised what aspects of yourself you discover when you're writing in response to various prompts. So there are prompts that she will give you, and then you'll have a certain amount of time to write what comes to you around that thought, that idea, that phrase. And all kinds of intuitive stuff emerges and bubbles up. Some things that you didn't even know were there, and brilliant ideas and so on. So you might want to take advantage of this. This class is going to be online. It is on Monday evening, 6 Monday evenings, just for from 6:30 to 8:30 on Zoom. And registration is open now. If you register with a $50 deposit now and you pay the balance by class 2, then you get a big discount of it's $180 instead of $210. So that's a good thing. Now, this is a rhetorical question. I don't want you to answer it. So if you are a meditator, and if you're not a meditator, we do a Wednesday evening meditation, and it's easy to join us at 7:15 for this. And I want to show you how you find it on our website so that you can click the Zoom link that will take you straight to the meditation. So if you go to our website, you'll see all these tabs at the top. And one of them says classes/events. If you click on that one, you'll see this drop-down menu, and at the bottom of it, it says calendar. Click on the calendar, and you'll see the current month's calendar. And any event that's listed there, if you click on it, it will take you to that event's page and give you more details about it. So when you click on this Wednesday's meditation, this page will come up that tells you what guided meditation is, but it also says, join with Zoom. Click that, and it should take you straight to it. And if you're clicking a little bit early, you'll be in the waiting room. So don't freak out and think that you haven't gotten there yet. It'll say the host is going to start this in a few minutes or something. And just hang out there, and I will let you in just a few minutes. So come and try it out. We start at 7:15. We go about an hour, and sometimes a little bit longer. Everybody's welcome. There's no charge for it. You can invite friends who aren't Science of Mind people. Some of the meditations we do are more Science of Mindy than others. So you can check and read the descriptions and check it out. I know that it's hard to hear an announcement on Sunday or even get an email on Tuesday and remember Wednesday evening at 7:15 that this is happening, but I have faith in you. Also, the climate action tip for this week, I want to let you know that Resilient Neighborhoods is starting up its workshops again on creating more resilient neighborhoods and eco-friendly choices that we make. So they have sessions that are 5 sessions, but they're over 10 weeks. So they're every 2 weeks. So the Tuesday sessions, the Thursday sessions are coming up in this climate action series. And you can register at resilientneighborhoods.org for any of those. Finally, I want to remind you that you can always put in a prayer request in the box. You can put in a prayer request on our website. If you remember where all those tabs are, go to resources. When you click that, the drop-down menu will give you an option for an online prayer request. And whenever you put a prayer request in, then your request is taken care of by those practitioners who receive that for that week. So when you write one and put it in this box, our practitioners at the table work on it for that week. But they are also available for you right after the service for prayer. So never leave with a heavy heart. Always take some time to get a prayer with a practitioner if you're feeling uncomfortable about something in your life. And they will welcome you and take good care of you. So now I want to invite all the practitioners to stand and surround the room. You recognize them often because they're the ones wearing the white stoles. And you can talk to any of these practitioners if you have a question about treatment or about practitioners and what they do. But the ones who are available for prayer are the 2 that will be over here at the table. So you just come over there and let them know, and they will take you to a more private setting here for your prayer. So we are going to join together in consciousness with this group of practitioners surrounding us now. And I invite you to put your hands over your heart, recognizing right here and now that underneath these hands is a creature of God. No better or worse or more or less deserving than any other creature of God. This infinite presence, this infinite intelligence and love, one of whose names can be God, is not bound by time or space. All of it is everywhere, all at once, throughout all space and time. The here, the now. This is the realm of the infinite. And we, in our souls, are native to that. As manifestations of this divine presence, we extend our love outward in this moment to all of the creatures of the earth, the creepy crawlies, the winged ones, those who swim, those who walk or crawl or creep on the earth or slither. We send out regards, respect, curiosity, awe, wonder, care to all of them, with great gratitude for all that they contribute to the planet and to our presence and to our very survival. We are in awe of the wonders of life on this planet. And so we honor it with great joy, not only around and outside of us, but also in our very own being. Extending love to this one under our hands. And recognizing our own worthiness to be forgiven, to be loved, to be treated with kindness and compassion. And so we lead the way by treating ourselves in this way. And we're grateful for the reminder, for the law which assists us to remember and to accomplish this, and for the doing this in support of the universe on behalf of us. We let this word go with great gratitude and let it be. We just let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Yes, and so it is. Look around at the people around you. Just glance around, and as you do, glance at them with eyes of love. Just glance at them with eyes of love. You don't have to say anything or do anything differently, but just hold them with that regard. And let's stand and say the benediction and move into the closing song together right now. I now walk, so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness, for spirit and all people and I are one eternally, and so it is. This is, I Can See Clearly Now. You know this song.
We so appreciate you having us, inviting us all the way across the country to California. You're welcome to come visit us sometime here in Tennessee.
Absolutely.
Anytime. And be sure to check us out at SingSpirit, SingSpirit.net. Keep in touch.
Oh, no, it's, yeah, I can see clearly now. Is that what I said?
1,
Yes, that's what it is.
3, 4.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day.
Maybe later.
Think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is a rainbow I've been waiting for. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. can see no obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, 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 bright sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 bright sunshiny day. Oh, it's gonna be a bright, 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 bright sunshiny day. Yeah, it's gonna be a bright, bright, bright sunshiny day.
Go enjoy a sunshiny day.